Interstate 180 I-81 in Pulaski has been reopened.
And find out how telemarketers are deceiving local residents. All that and more coming up on WTOP 10.
Good evening, Oswego. This is WTOP 10 News at 10. I'm Mike Cothran.
And I'm Jean Bernhoft. Let's take a quick look at your weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Dan I.
All right, thanks guys. Well, as you take a look at the current conditions outside right now, 10 degrees outside the campus center, but the real feel way below that at -10, and that is because of the gusts that we're getting at 38 miles an hour, sustained winds out of the west at 24, and that's going to keep us really chilly throughout the night. Taking a look at your regional radar, that lake effect band really set up and really solidified across Oswego County and all the way up to Tug Hill Plateau. That will stay with us throughout the night and into the morning hours, and that will lead to some significant accumulations in some areas. But looking at your 3-day forecast, the snow will not last. As Saturday you see a bit of a warm-up coming, but tomorrow the heavy snow will stick around throughout the morning and into the early afternoon. I'll have more with your full forecast in just a couple minutes, but for now I'll send it back to the desk with Mike and Jean.
Thanks, Dan. Mayor Tom Gillen lifted Oswego's travel advisory this morning after it was issued yesterday afternoon. The advisory was announced because of heavy snow and blowing wind on Wednesday, creating whiteout conditions. SUNY Oswego also canceled Wednesday's afternoon and evening classes, and the Oswego City School District closed early. Although the advisory was lifted at 10 a.m. this morning, motorists are encouraged to avoid parking on city streets to allow the DPW to clear streets earlier tonight.
Interstate 81 reopened at 9 p.m. this evening after an accident involving 2 tractor trailers caused it to close at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Several ambulances were called, however, only minor injuries were reported. The accident occurred in Pulaski, where it was snowing at a rate of more than an inch an hour. It took several hours for crews to clear the highway.
A report has been released showing that some for-profit telemarketing companies keep more of donors' money than previously thought. The report, issued by New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, says that telemarketers for Oswego County Lodge No. 1 of the Fraternal Order of Police kept an average of 62% of donations, while most other charities keep less than 50%. Schneiderman says New York charities should publicly announce to their customers how much of their donations they retain, and that New Yorkers deserve to know where their money is going.
Mark your calendars. The weekend of April 4th brings a symposium of lectures and exhibits celebrating the bicentennial commemoration of the local battles of the War of 1812. The 3-day-long symposium will take place at the Lake Ontario Conference and Event Center on East 1st Street in Oswego. Dozens of speakers will discuss various topics about the battle and effects along the New York-Canadian border.
It's Pronounced Metrosexual premiered tonight on the SUNY Oswego campus.
Our very own Victoria De La Concha has more about the comedy show with a twist.
I'm here with Sam Killerman right now, the creator and the comedian behind this comedy. So can you please, for everybody who wasn't here, can you tell us what your show is about?
Yeah, I say that the show is about snap judgments, stereotypes, and oppression, but in a funny way, which I know isn't like a typically funny thing.
Right.
I just tell a lot of stories about different times that people have stereotyped me or the snap judgments that have led to where I am today, and then I relate them to different aspects of oppression.
And could you define that for the audience?
Yeah, for sure. So the way that I think of metrosexuality is just a man who is comfortable with femininity, is a feminine person, does things that are typically considered to be more feminine, so like hygiene or self-care stuff, and still identifies as a man.
Okay. And just one more question. How would you give, or what advice would you give for people who are struggling with an identity crisis?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I would say if you're struggling with an identity crisis and it's because you're not sure what your identity is, then the best thing you can do is have conversations about it. So if you're not sure who you are or how you relate to society, the best way you're going to make sense of that is through conversations with other people. But if you're struggling with an identity crisis where other people are misunderstanding your identity or other people are having a hard time understanding who you are, then that's a whole nother issue, and I think that that conversation has to happen with society. I think that
Well, that's why I think your show is so great. It really starts a conversation. So thank you for being with us here at SUNY Oswego.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Oswego County's Continuum of Care Committee, COACH, is in the planning stage of a homeless management information system. This will allow them to find a more accurate quantity of homelessness in the county. On March 14th, Oswego County Health Department hosts a forum where Coach will discuss the issue of homelessness. Homelessness in Oswego County is a serious issue. Coach is trying to gain community support for a rapid rehousing plan to put the homeless in affordable housing with necessary services to monitor and support the transition.
SUNY Oswego has announced that alumnus and famous children's book author Bruce Coville will be the speaker of this year's Quest keynote. Coville, who graduated from Oswego back in '73, has written more than 100 books, including The Unicorn Chronicles and international bestseller My Teacher is an Alien. Coville is scheduled to give his keynote on Wednesday, April 9th at 10 a.m. in the Campus Center. The session will be free, along with most other presentations during Quest Day.
The Majing Touring Classical Theater in the Acting Company performed Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead earlier this evening. This play, written by Tom Stoppard, is a revision to the classic play Hamlet from the point of view of minor characters. The Tony Award-winning New York City acting troupe performed Hamlet in Tyler Hall last evening. It was a daring event in theater for the same actors to perform these two plays on the same stage on consecutive evenings. This acting company will continue touring through the beginning of May.
First graders in Phoenix Central School District plan on celebrating their 100-day mark, but ended up going a bit over the mark. The students held a month-long food drive to collect 100 food items for the local food pantry. When the drive was over on their 100th school day, the students were excited to find out that they went over their goal by 44 items. The first graders celebrated by making 10 necklaces made of 10 Fruit Loops each to tie off their 100th day. Coming up after the break, Dan and I will have a look at your weather.
And later, find out what new public holiday has been established. Coming up after the break. You're watching WTOP 10 News.
Good evening, Oswego. I'm Amanda Knight here with your video game update. Titanfall, a game that many have been anticipating for a while, is now being released on Tuesday, March 11th. Here's a little visual on what we have coming to us in just a couple weeks.
It's on the way. Stand by for Titanfall.
Titanfall is a brand new sci-fi shooter being developed by Respawn Entertainment and Bluepoint Games. Titanfall is set in the future, a place called Frontier. Here there are two organizations, the IMC and the M-Corps. The IMC are a resource-driven empire who want to keep dominance over the frontier. Meanwhile, the M-Corps are a military made up of citizens who have settled on the frontier who want to keep their land. The player is able to control the soldiers or pilots that have many parkour moves. As a pilot, you can call in huge mechs called Titans and fight in the massive exoskeleton until they're destroyed. Titans can also act as a guard when you decide to leave them, following you around and protecting you.
Corps, take your squad up this road. The rest of you move through this building behind me and secure the area.
In a match, you are given an objective at the beginning that you must complete. Throughout the match, there are various actions that you can perform to earn points, such as getting a kill or destroying an opposing Titan.
Engaging follow mode.
At the end of the match, there's an epilogue. Here, the losing team has to escape. This team is given the chance to gain extra points where the winning team tries to stop them from getting away. This is a way to make the end of the game more exciting and give the losing team a second chance. What makes Titanfall so unique is the multiplayer campaign, something many games lack. If you enjoy both Halo and Call of Duty, this is the game for you, as Titanfall has elements of both games in it.
We need you. Are you going to fight with us? You can reserve your copy now and then pick it up on March 11th.
Now, I have to say that game looks really fun, but just to make sure, what platforms is it coming out for again?
It's going to be on Xbox One, PC, and Xbox 360.
Perfect. I might actually get it for PC then.
Yeah, I'm getting it for Xbox 360, so we're
Perfect.
good.
Thanks, Amanda. SUNY Oswego basketball, men's hockey, and the NBA.
Kim Abendangelo has all this and more in your sports update. The Oswego State men's ice hockey team advanced to the SUNYAC Championship Finals after their 3-2 win over Fredonia last night. The win made Oswego advance to have a record of 18-6-2. Oswego took almost double the amount of shots that Fredonia did, and the Lakers scored 1 goal in each period. Fredonia's Alex Perkins and Brian Doust each scored a goal in the second period, one of those while they were on a power play. Oswego's goal scorers were Mike Montagna, Andrew Barton, and Matt Galati, respectively. Gertzakis, Botten, Titanic, and Timpano each scored crucial assists last night. Catch the Oswego State men's Lakers on the road this Saturday at 7 p.m. as they take on Plattsburgh. The SUNY Oswego men's basketball team also won their first playoff game at Max Zale Gymnasium on Tuesday night. It was the third time of the season that they defeated Cortland, but their 69-57 win on Tuesday night gave them the opportunity to advance to the semifinals for the 4th consecutive year. Ross, Tyson, Kavli, and Powell were some of the key players of the game, with rebounds, layups, and steals that made the crowd go wild. Oswego takes on Brockport on the road tomorrow night at 8 p.m., where both the Lakers and the Golden Eagles will fight to advance to the SUNYAC Finals. In national sports news, Sacramento Kings center DeMarcus Cousins got ejected from Tuesday's game against the Houston Rockets. In the first quarter, Cousins punched the Rockets point guard Patrick Beverley in the stomach. There are assumptions that he may have done this because when Cousins sprained his ankle previously, Beverley stood over him with a menacing look. But then in Tuesday night's game, in the third quarter, Cousins got called for another technical and threw a temper tantrum, which led to a 1-game suspension and a $20,000 fine, so Cousins will not be playing for the Kings tomorrow night against the LA Lakers. After suffering from a broken nose last week against the Oklahoma City Thunder, LeBron James starts tonight for the Miami Heat.
Last week, James was struck in the face on a drive to the basket by Serge Ibaka of the Oklahoma City Thunder. When James returns tonight, he will be wearing a mask to protect his nose. Some think that this will affect his playing, but on an ESPN interview, George Karl expressed how he believes that James will have no problem tonight because he's an outstanding player and this will not affect, or at least barely affect, his game.
Thanks, Kim. Find out about a new self-destructing phone and what's upsetting Seth Rogen.
And a final look at your weather forecast, but first, take a look at your community calendar. Stay tuned, you're watching WTOP 10 News.
Get your Smokey on. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Down 70 to 35, and the Cougars were getting smoked like a cheap cigar.
I'm RJ.
I'm DJ.
Oh, wait.
Is that right?
We have a show coming.
It's on Wednesdays at 11:30, and you should watch it.
You better watch it.
You better.
Wait, I'm DJ.
The mailbox and the traffic light. Both are ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
This can't be happening. This can't be happening.
Of course it's not happening. Armored car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me. Feed the pig.
Welcome back to WTOP 10. Aerospace manufacturer Boeing unveiled a new self-destructing smartphone this week named the Boeing Black. The phone is meant for people who work for or with government agencies in defense and homeland security. The self-destruct feature isn't quite as dramatic as it sounds. It simply erases all its data if someone tries to break into the phone. It's loaded with other security features like Google's Android and encrypts calls and stored data. Boeing is releasing limited information about its first smartphone, but it's expected to be out this summer, with no words on how much it'll cost.
United States senators are not taking a stand against Alzheimer's disease. Seth Rogen expressed his disappointment with the senators for not prioritizing this disease that affected his mother-in-law at age 55. Rogen testified before a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on the current economic state of research and treatment of the disease. After the hearing, which only was attended by 2 senators, Rogen took to Twitter to make his frustrations known about the lack of concern the government has for the disease. Rogen also interviewed with ABC News, saying that research and treatment are not being explored by doctors because of a lack of funding by the government. Rogen appeals to senators to make Alzheimer's a priority.
Now let's take one last look at weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Dan I.
Well, guys, taking another look at that 3-day, really a tale of 2 days there. It's Friday. Lots of snow, 14 degrees for your high, but things are looking up for Saturday as we get back up to 33 degrees. So overall, Saturday is my pick day of the weekend.
Well, doesn't sound too bad then.
Not at all.
Thanks for being here. I'm Mike Cothran.
And I'm Jean Bernhoft. Have a good night, Oswego.